What kind of roommate was he?
He was pretty quiet, really clean. Not one you could complain about, really, to start off with.
And when you first moved in, you saw this guy, friendly enough, right? Quiet. I mean, everyone wants a quiet roommate, right?
Yeah. I mean, he wasn't friendly by any means. He was just quiet.
Was he mean?
No. Sometimes I guess you would say rude, the way you would try to carry a conversation with him, and you couldn't get any feedback from him, or like talking to a brick wall.
And did you think that was strange initially?
Yeah, I did, but I used to be pretty shy too when I came to Tech, and I thought maybe something's happened in his life. I don't know. Just for him to be so quiet and not want to talk to people.
And then, did you feel the same way when you first met him? He's just a real quiet guy. Did you think it was kind of weird when you first met him?
I thought he was just really quiet and shy. I didn't think he was weird initially. Just some people are shyer than others.
Okay. So when did you start noticing, Andy, that perhaps it was a little more than just being a shy, nice guy?
We tried to hang out with him at first, introduced him to our friends and stuff, and weeks of this, and he never opened up. Just never talked to us, and went about his day by himself. Never saw anyone come visit him.
I mean, did you ever sit down and have a conversation with him?
Never more than a couple words, other than the one time when we went out to a party and he opened up and said he had an imaginary girlfriend.
He told you he had an imaginary girlfriend?
Yes.
And what prompted him to say that?
We had been drinking, so I guess he had just decided to open up.
So he had a few beers and he opened up. And what did he say about an imaginary girlfriend?
He called her, well,
Jelly,
and she called him Spanky.
Spanky and Jelly?
Yep. And that was that.
And what did he say about this imaginary girlfriend?
She was a supermodel, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And were you guys amused by this? Or weirded out by it?
More amused, you think this guy's pretty crazy.
Yeah, strange guy.
But then something happened that you say he started harassing women at school here, right?
Yeah.
Tell me about that, John.
I walked back to my room one night, and there's a policeman in there. And apparently what had happened was he started talking to her online first. He found where she lived, started talking to her on AIM. Then he went over there. He was using the name question mark. Said, "Hey, I'm question mark," and that really freaked the girl out.
So he was stalking her?
Yeah. He found out everything about her first.
And like he told this girl all the things he learned about her?
I don't know if he told her that, but he thought they were playing some kind of game or something.
And did you know the girl?
No.
I mean, was she freaked out about it? Did you hear later?
Freaked out enough about it to call the police.
And did this happen with any other girls, Andy?
There were two other instances that we know of. One was one of our friends, he started bothering her, and another was down the hall.
And what happened in those cases?
The one down the hall, I got the girl's screen name and kind of told her, I IM'd her and told her, this guy, he's messing around with you, here's his name, and you shouldn't kind of ignore him and just stay away from him. And then the other time, the cops responded again, and Sung became upset about that, and he had told me that he might as well kill himself. And so I told the cops that, and they took him away to the counseling center for a night or two.
And when he told you that he might kill himself, did you think he might be serious?
It was more out of, I could kind of see him doing it. It was before a break is what I remember, and he never went home, so he would have been there over break by himself if he was serious about it.
I mean, John, the guy never talked to you, so for him to say he might want to kill himself, I guess that would be pretty notable, right?
Yeah, that would be a red flag. I would have said something to somebody. If he had said it to me, he talked more to Andy probably than he did to me, just because Andy's more of a friendly guy.
But you lived in the same room as him.
Yeah, but after a time I just stopped trying to talk to him. And then when all this sort of started happening with other girls and things like that, I started to keep a closer eye on him. And it was more of, instead of me being his roommate, it was more of a watchdog thing to see where he went or came.
Why did you feel you had to be a watchdog? Were you afraid for your own safety?
Not necessarily for my own safety, but for friends. I stopped telling friends to come by my room, especially girls. I thought about several times trying to follow him to see if maybe he was going to go stalk some other girl in some other dorm so we could get word to them like we did the girl that lived on our hall.
I mean, did you think he might harm some of these girls?
I never thought that at some point he would harm them, no. But at the same time...
But why were you thinking of following him?
Just because I know a girl would be extremely weirded out by that. I wouldn't want some guy following my sister or...
So when he came back from the clinic after threatening to kill himself, did he talk about that at all? Or did you ask him about it, Andy?
Nope. It was kind of weird, obviously, for the time after that because I had reported him for it, and pretty much there was no other incidents after that. He kept to himself a lot more after that.
Did he like music, for example?
Yeah, he did. He listened to a lot of rock, a lot of Led Zeppelin, Nirvana, Shine Down by Collective Soul.
You were saying that there was one song you could keep playing over and over. What was that?
It was Shine Down
by Collective Soul. And was there any reason? He would just keep playing it over and over and over again? And was this on an iPod or on stereo speakers?
It was on his laptop.
His laptop, and you guys heard it?
I heard it. It would wake me up in the morning sometime.
Like, what did you say to him?
I never said anything because...
How come?
I always thought he was kind of a fragile guy at the time. That was still before the police came, and I just didn't want to say, hey, turn that music off or switch the song, because I didn't have that kind of relationship with him.
Did you ever say anything to him about it, Andy?
About the music?
Yeah.
No, never.
I mean, you guys seem to be very patient with him and somewhat caring, that you didn't want to bother him.
Well, I think in that situation with anybody that's like that, you just try to be as patient as you can. You don't want to come down hard on them or send them into some kind of shut-down lockout mode.
But here you're dealing with a guy who was a stalker, who you knew was a stalker, and was very strange, never talked with you.
Yeah.
And then, did he ever get in trouble? Did he ever do anything to get himself in trouble other than stalking?
He would write on the walls, the suite walls, but I don't think he ever got in any kind of trouble for it.
What did he write on the suite walls?
The lyrics to the music that he would listen to.
Like with chalk or paint or what?
Pencil or pen.
And what did you do about that?
We just told our RAs. They went up the chain of command with it, I guess.
You were afraid you'd get fined, you'd have to pay a fine.
Yeah, everybody, if they didn't know who it was, everybody in the suite would have had to pay a fine.
Did he have any hobbies? Did he do anything other than sit in his room and listen to music?
Went to the gym, and he had a bicycle that he worked on, and he was always riding that usually.
Yeah, he would go out really late at night and just ride his bike around for a few hours and come back.
Now, when you heard that there was an Asian man who was the gunman, what did you think, Andy?
Well, I was with my roommate from last year, and we kind of maybe guessed that it was him because it matched the description, and we were a little, I guess, fearful that it would be him, hoping it wasn't.
Why did you think right away that it might be him? There are a lot of Asians here.
Well, part of the description, too, was the guy they arrested on the drill field initially looked similar to him, close-cropped hair. And then with the girl in AJ, too, like, after it was released that it was an RA and a girl killed, that it kind of sounded like the girl had gotten into a trouble with the guy. But when I heard that she it was the boyfriend, I was kind of thinking it wasn't Seung because I had never seen him with a girl or anyone else for that matter.
John, when you heard it was an Asian man who did this, did you think it was him?
Yeah, and I don't really know a whole lot of Asians at Tech, and that may have been the reason too, but the only strange Asian that I would have known would have been Seung. And everybody that I knew that I've told stories about Seung, and they all called me and said, "You think that was Seung?" when they found out it was an Asian.
Now that you look back at his behavior, is there anything with the benefit of hindsight